A little pricey, but I think Ertz has a lot of potential. I think if he could just learn to hold on to the ball, I think he can be one of those elite tight ends that every good team seems to have, along with like Greg Olsen and Jimmy Graham and those kind of guys. I think he has the potential to be in that class, so I wasn't surprised that they gave him that kind of contract.
Yeah, and it looked like the coaching staff that they have assembled here, all three of the teams, Kansas City, San Diego, and Cleveland, had pretty productive years from the tight end.
Right. And I think, Doug did a lot of good things with Travis Kelce on Kansas City, so that tells you that he kind of values the tight end. And he did a lot of work with him in Philly also during Andy Reid's time here. So, yeah, I think that the tight end will be the focal point, which is probably one of the reasons why they brought Brent Selleck back too.
Yeah, Selleck gets $13 million. I mean, they put $42.5 million plus $13 million. That's a lot of money invested into the tight end position. They better get a lot of value and production from that spot.
Yeah, you're not kidding. I was kind of surprised that they brought Selleck back. I mean, I know he's a really good guy to have in the locker room, one of the leaders of the team. But I was kind of impressed with Trey Burton and the progress that he's made. So I was kind of half expecting that he would be the number 2 guy. But I guess Selleck's value as a blocker is pretty important to them. So that's one of the reasons they brought him back.
Yeah, and you look at they could have cut Selleck and had some cap relief there, but I guess it shows you the value. But I guess that also shows a little bit that Howie Roseman, are these moves really reeking that Howie Roseman is definitively the guy in charge over there?
Yeah, it seems to be that way because, when he was in power, they made a habit of extending guys before their contracts were up, making sure that they keep their core players around for a while. So the fact that they did this with Ertz, that has Howie Roseman stamp written all over it. So, yeah, and I was listening to your intro coming into the segment that, it does seem like he's making a push to be the main guy, although Lurie made such a big deal out of during his press conference about their search for a new guy that tells me that they're still looking to make Howie maybe second in command.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know about you. When in your opinion, I mean, there's a lot of theories on this. When did Roseman kind of, I know he was the GM starting in 2010, but to my understanding, many people felt that at least for 2 years there, that Reid was still kind of controlling the draft. When do you think people should start judging Roseman as the superior person in charge of the roster?
That's a good question. Well, yeah, Reid probably he was like the head guy during the end of his tenure there. So I would guess maybe Chip Kelly's first year, 2013, when he took Lane Johnson and Zach Ertz, and it's a pretty good start to Kelly's tenure in terms of the draft. And,
right. Well, correct me if I'm wrong, Dave. Correct me if I'm wrong. That there was in 2012 when they took Fletcher Cox, Michael Kendricks, Vinnie Curry, Nick Foles. Wasn't that when Lurie kind of said they were changing the way they looked at the draft, and that Howie used to make his own board, but they went more off of Reid's board. But starting in 2012, they were going to incorporate more of Howie's board. I mean, wasn't it right around that time when they had a little bit of a change?
Yeah, you're right. That's when Lurie started to maybe place a little more trust in Howie. And to be fair, I think he had some pretty good drafts, and he took the blame for that Marcus Smith deal. But I can't believe that was his choice, because I remember him talking Chip out of taking Josh Huff in the first round and taking Taylor Hart in the third round. So that tells me that he had a pretty good handle on where guys were valued, and that tells me that I don't think that Marcus Smith was his guy.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of people that listened to him that day and kind of, thought, hey, he finally admitted it. But if you watch the video, I mean, were you in the room, I guess? He just looked like a guy who was basically like, I just want this to end. I want this Chip Kelly, me thing to be over with. Oh, I'll just say whatever you want me to say to get this over with.
Right. He was apologizing. He was taking blame for everything but the crack in the Liberty Bell. He just wanted to come full circle, like you said, take the blame for everything, put everything behind him, wish Kelly good luck, and then try and hopefully get some respect back.
That being said, should Howie Roseman be the personnel be-all, end-all in Philadelphia?
I I'm probably in the minority, but I say yes. I think he knows the game. He does. He did his due diligence in learning, the ins and outs. He's very good at managing the cap. He knows what players are valued. I think he does a really good job of studying the board, and he places a lot of value in scouts' opinions too. It's not just him. It's he listens to what people have to say and takes that into account. So I think he's earned the right to do it.
What do you make then, Dave? What do you make then of all the reports or rumors that so many guys had problems working with him? Louis Riddick, Jason Light, you see the guy, I can't remember his name, who's out in Indianapolis, the GM out there, Grigson. There's a lot of speculation that people just didn't like him, that there was a rift between him and Kelly that was unrepairable, and that people just didn't want to work with him. So what do you make of that in saying that he listens to other people here?
He did have an abrasive person that rubbed guys the wrong way, and those guys are they're quote-unquote football guys, and there's that old boy speak where guys don't look at an accountant or a lawyer or someone who never played as being capable of telling them what to do. So maybe there was just like that personality conflict there. But the fact that Lurie picked Howie over all those guys should tell you that maybe Howie has a little bit more talent than what they're giving him credit for.
Well, some people, I guess, would think that that's just Lurie's boy, whether he has the right talent or not, right?
Could be, yeah. Same thing like with Joe Banner, too, yep.
Yeah, so moving forward here, Fletcher Cox, Lane Johnson, Vinny Curry, all three of those guys seem like high priority, and I guess that's a good sign for Howie that he's trying to get some good PR right off the bat by hitting all these checklists. Yeah.
I mean, you definitely, if they can get Fletcher and Lane done especially, that's going to go a long way to improving his resume. Those are guys who you're counting on to be there for the next 5, 6, 7 years or more. So, and they're at the top of their games already. So yeah, I think that if they can get those done, that's going to be a big boost to the future of the franchise.
All right, Dave Weinberg from the Press of Atlantic City. I know it's early. I know it's real early, but the Senior Bowls this week, pick 13. Which direction would you think that they would be zoning in on in the first round?
What they should do, I think, is offensive line. What they will do, I don't know. I don't know what Doug Peterson's philosophy is. I definitely wouldn't take a quarterback. There's nobody there that's worthy of the 13 pick, I don't think. After, I don't see anybody there that's like a Donovan McNabb franchise-like guy. So, I mean, but they know better than I do. But I would go offensive line or maybe defensive line in the first round.
Yeah, and what's funny, we were talking a little bit about this yesterday, Dave, but realistically, you don't really take interior line in the first round. You're not going to take a running back in the first round. Tight end is out off the board. You just said quarterback. Defensive end, I mean, they're going to try to go for Curry, you would assume. Defensive tackle, maybe to add a guy into that rotation with Fletcher Cox and Benny Logan. The linebacker spot, I mean, you hope that they're better. Maybe a corner, maybe a safety, but it seems like there's not a lot of areas in that first round that this team can go at other than offensive tackle maybe would be something that they really would put a lot of focus on. So it seems like they are limited at some of the things that they might need to add in that first round.
Right. Well, it all depends on whether, how they rank their board, whether they go for need or go for, the ever popular best player available. So there's really no telling on what can happen. It depends on what their philosophy is. Like you said, with need, though, you would think it'd be offensive tackle or something else. But, they could probably take a wide receiver for all I know.
Well, they could use one, though, right?
Yeah, they definitely could. Yeah, you can't go in with Riley Cooper and Josh Huff and, a bunch of those other guys. That's for sure.
Well, I'll tell you, the wide receiver draft is a little weaker this year than it's been in the last couple of years. But 13 might be right around the area where you start to see the first wide receiver go. I don't think you're going to see one in the top 10, so you might get one in that area right where you are. The kid from, I guess, Ole Miss is pretty much the top of that list. So good stuff. By the way, Doug Peterson basically today saying that he wants to keep Jason Peters around. There's been some wonder if Peters wants to stay, but I guess now that Kelly's gone, Peters probably a lot more open to staying.
Yeah, that's true. He wasn't a Jet fan by any means.
No, he was not. No, he was not. All right, Dave Weinberg from the Press of Atlantic City. Of course, check him out at the Press of Atlantic City online. He's got a good piece on the casinos and boxing in this week's edition of the Press. And, of course, on Wednesdays we talk Eagles and others. When the boxing stuff comes up, of course, we'll tap into Dave for that as well. Thanks, pal.
Thanks, Mike. I appreciate it.